Hey guys, once again it is time for a review about the Oukitel U10 this time. This one is Oukitel's latest try to offer as much as possible for the lowest amount of bugs possible. Now they already demonstrated what they are capable of in the entry level, but this time they try the same with the mid-range. The Oukitel U10 promises to be an alternative to the Meizu M2 Note and the Lenovo K3 Note. But is it really? I had my hands on this device for quite a while and used it as my main device for a while. Time to tell you everything about the phone. As we are used to from other Oukitel devices, the U10 comes in a bright orange box, a standard phone box with nothing exciting on it besides the color. Inside they place the phone along some documentation in an envelope, a small needle to open the SIM tray and also a wall charger and a micro USB cable. Oukitel, despite the low price tag, have put a lot of effort into the design, which gets obvious immediately. The screen is covered by a 2.5D glass and the rear as well as the sides are made from metal for the most part. In addition, the handset is pretty slim. The body is 7.9mm in thickness and only taking the camera into account, this increases to 9.5mm. Also, the remaining dimensions are fairly acceptable for a 5.5 incher thanks to slim bezels. Yep, there is a black frame around the screen, but it's by far not as huge as, for example, on some phones. The slight golden color of the body makes the Oukitel U10 look a little premium, but if you don't like the color, don't worry, there is a silver version available as well. The build quality is pretty good, of course, taking into account the price tag once again and also all the other stuff you get with this device. It is very sturdy thanks to all the metal, and there is no way bending it without applying lots of force. There are no clattering parts on the device, even though the buttons, which are made from metal by the way, can be moved around a tiny little bit. The only flaws in terms of the design is that the parts on the camera look a little different. We have one plastic cap here and this one is the metal, and as you can see, the plastic part actually has a slightly different design than the metal part, and you also can feel a slight gap on the lower plastic part where the metal ends and the plastic stops. So that's not so nice, but anyway, that's complaining at a very high level, I think. Again, you only pay 160 bucks for this beauty. Last but not least, let's have a quick look around the device. On the left we can find the SIM tray, which is actually a combo slot, so you need to decide between having dual SIM dual micro SIM capabilities, or using a micro SD card and one single SIM. The lower side contains a micro USB port, which of course does support OTG, and there also is a voice microphone. The right side contains the aforementioned buttons for volume, control and power, and on the top there only is a headphone jack. Whoever now starts to believe that due to all the metal and the 2.5D glass the budget is used up already and the saving starts right now is wrong. We talk about display, and this one is quite premium as well. Oukitel do use a 5.5-inch Full HD panel here, of which the display is supplied by JDI, and if you know JDI, you know that those displays are perfect, always. Obviously, this makes the Oukitel U10 having a very nice screen performance with great colors, good sharpness and a very nice contrast. Even brightness is pretty much perfect and bright enough for those sunny days outside. Adaptive brightness control works flawlessly as well without any flickering. The touchscreen basically is very nice as well, with no input lag, high precision and a very smooth surface. I say basically though, since my unit has a faulty touch controller. Once the phone faces low temperatures, I start getting massive ghost touches. Anyway, that's not something that happens with all devices, which I'm able to confirm after talking to a lot of U10 owners, so don't worry about that. So do the savings start now when we talk about specs? Well, it depends on you if you say yes or no, since the Oukitel U10 is based on the MT6753 SoC, which is a little slower compared to the MT6752 due to a lower CPU clock of 1.3 GHz and a slower Mali T720 MP4 GPU. Anyway, the question you have to ask is, what are you doing with your phone? Obviously, if you play a lot of demanding games, you might want to look elsewhere, but if you use your phone for productivity, photos, social media, video and music playback, casual gaming and all that stuff, the MT6753 is a very sufficient solution and a power efficient one as well. Also, if you do a lot of multitasking, the Oukitel U10 won't be a device you wouldn't want to use, since it comes with a massive 3 GB of RAM, which makes it, as far as I know, the cheapest phone to boast that feature right now. Yep, the Doogee F5 is cheaper, but please consider that this one is in pre-order right now and this is not available and will get more expensive later on. To get back to reality, I have been very satisfied with the Oukitel U10's multitasking performance. It is capable of running 15 apps at once without any issues, which definitely is a proof for proper optimization that took place here. In the end, I can say that the Oukitel U10 is a lot of fun, despite its apparently a little slower SoC and totally sufficient for the mid-range. To be honest with you, I've never had the wish for a faster SoC while using the U10 daily, period. Specs are one side of the coin, software is another, and exactly here is where Oukitel did quite a good job once again. They pre-install Android 5.1 here, so the handset is pretty much up to date. And the system hasn't been modified too much, with the only changes being some additional gesture features and a custom MIUI style launcher, which can be replaced of course. The performance and stability of the system is very good, even better than on the Meizu M2 Note in my opinion, which once again shows how much Meizu is behind the competition recently when it comes to software optimization. Getting back to the aforementioned gestures, there you can enable and disable features like screenshots with 3 fingers, volume control with 2 fingers, double tap home to standby, and there even is a feature to select a custom area to take a screenshot of. Of course, classic off-screen gestures like double tap to wake, for example, are present as well, and another feature that is supported is MediaTek's hot node technology. The only thing I really dislike is that the stage fright security hole hasn't been fixed by Oukitel yet. This is especially disappointing since the phone got released after the issues got public. At least Oukitel promised me to publish an OTA update soon that will close the stage fright hole. One thing left to mention is the fingerprint scanner the Oukitel U10 offers on the rear, and believe it or not, once again this handset impressed me since this sensor does work extremely well, at least it does for me. It is extremely fast, I simply have to tap the scanner quickly and the phone turns on and unlocks. Let me show you that again. Tap, unlocked, tap, unlocked, tap, and unlocked. It simply works perfectly again and again. Often I don't use fingerprint scanners because they simply don't work all the time. But this one I use, and at $160 this performance once again is very impressive. There also is an option to lock specific apps with your fingerprint, which once again is something not all devices have to offer. Now we hit a topic the Oukitel U10 didn't manage to fully satisfy me, and that's audio quality. During telephony the phone sounds a little dull, and on both ends it does. Anyway, everything remains understandable, so it's no significant flaw. The phone receiver sounds very loud, by the way. The media speaker is is surprisingly good. It also is very loud and even offers a slight depth and doesn't overdraw the mids and highs, and there also is no distortion on full volume, which I appreciate. Headphones work flawlessly as well, with no issues if a remote is present. Audio quality is crisp and clear. Since I had my hands on a lot of devices already with metal build that suffered from a bad signal strength, I initially had some doubts about the Oukitel U10, however have been surprised about the fact that there are pretty much no issues at all. Signal strength on 3G and 4G networks is a little lower than on other devices, but nothing that would cause any issues. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, however, worked perfectly fine during my tests, with the Wi-Fi performing above average. The GPS also performs extremely well and is totally on par with any Snapdragon-based device. Within just a few seconds, it managed to get a fix for 17 or more satellites with an accuracy of 1 meter. Tracking and navigation works without any issues, and when tracking a bike ride, for example, it even displays driven serpentine lines on the track, which is pretty impressive. The working e-compass just makes the experience even better. Big grade A for Oukitel here. One more outstanding feature of the Oukitel U10 is the camera, since the rear one uses a Samsung ISOCELL 3M2 sensor with 13 megapixels resolution. This sensor is used more often on Chinese devices recently, but definitely remains a rarity within the sub $200 price range. The same sensor is used on the Oppo R7, for example. But the sensor doesn't mean the camera is good, since, as you probably figured out by now, the lenses and even more so the software part are far more important. So how does the Oukitel U10 perform in reality? Well, I would say not too bad. Yes, the quality isn't on par with the Meizu M2 Note or a Lenovo K3 Note, but you still can take decent shots with it. The camera performs especially nice during close-ups and macro shots. Pictures are very sharp and show a lot of details. Even if you use the flash during such shots, the results are not overexposed. Surprisingly, night and dusk photos also look pretty nice with the Oukitel U10, at least if you are able to keep your hands still. Especially HDR shots look beautiful. Pictures that are taken with the dual LED flash look very nice as well, since the flash is very bright, enabling you even to take pictures inside larger rooms. A little disappointing, however, are landscape shots. Those pictures are a tad too unsharp for my taste, which means you lose a lot of details, but this might be something Oukitel can fix with a software update, and I hope they will do exactly that, since the camera definitely has a lot of potential, of which like 50% remain wasted right now. Videos can be recorded with up to 1080p resolution and look nice again, sharp and with good and realistic colors. Something I didn't like so much though is the audio quality, which again sounds a little dull and is not loud enough for my taste. The front camera operates at 8 megapixels resolution and also isn't too bad. Here again, the results do not look too sharp, but at least don't have much noise in them, even in low light, which is something you don't see too often within this price range. The battery of the Oukitel U10 offers 2850 mAh in capacity, and this claim is true. Remembering back to how thin this phone is, this is pretty impressive indeed. Anyway, you cannot replace the battery, which is a downside of the slim design. This means that the battery life is even more important, since you want to save cycles to ensure a proper longevity of your device. And battery life isn't bad indeed. 6 hours and 42 minutes of screen on time is what Geekbench 3 says, without screen dim enabled, of course. This equals my experience during daily usage of the device. I always managed to get through the day with a single charge, but at night I had to recharge though. Charging unfortunately takes a little long with 3 hours, which is due to the power supply only putting out 1 ampere of power. This unfortunately does cause another issue, since you cannot use the phone while charging, else it will discharge again. A fix for this is using a power supply with 2 amperes or more. I don't really get why Oukitel delivers the handset with a power supply that's too weak actually. My verdict about the Oukitel U10: this handset definitely is a very nice budget phablet, and Oukitel once again have demonstrated what they are capable of. Despite a few small flaws, the handset is a very capable device at $160 and does a lot of things right. The parts I like the most about it are the screen, the build, the camera, and of course the fingerprint scanner. Thus, the Oukitel U10 at this time indeed is a competitor to the Lenovo K3 Note and Meizu M2 Note, since it offers a tad more, but of course you pay for that with some flaws at other areas. This means you once again have to consider what you actually need to figure out which one of those 3 devices is the right one for you. Anyway, Oukitel surprised me, and I do indeed look forward to see more from this brand. So that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a thumbs up and a subscription. If there are any questions left, feel free to drop them into the comments below the video. If you like what we are doing at GizChina Germany, make sure to follow us at Facebook, Google+, and Twitter as well. You will now see a performance demo of the Oukitel U10, and I say bye bye, over and out.